Mourinho had done the impossible. He had not only stopped FC Barcelona from returning to the Champions League final, now he was celebrating on their field. In the press conference, Mourinho famously stated he would never manage FC Barcelona. Mourinho finally had his vengeance, but it would not be complete unless he won the Champions League to prove to Barcelona that they made a mistake by not giving him the job. But before we get to the final itself, we have to remember where it was being played. See, while Mourinho was busy trying to beat FC Barcelona, Real Madrid, their famous rivals, were busy worried that they might have to see FC Barcelona win the Champions League at their home ground, which is pretty embarrassing. Add to the fact that Real Madrid were looking for a new manager, and you have almost a scenario from a movie. Mourinho stops FC Barcelona, goes to the Bernabeu in front of the Real Madrid board, and wins the Champions League against mighty Bayern Munich. Mourinho and Real Madrid seemed like a match made in heaven. I can't lie, when Mourinho joined Real Madrid, I thought Guardiola was pretty much finished. Yes, he did have a good season, but Mourinho at the time just had a better CV and more experience. But the beautiful thing with football is you really don't know until the match is over. With Mourinho joining arch rivals Real Madrid after stopping Barcelona from reaching the Champions League final, everyone instantly knew that something big was about to happen. And that something big was going to happen in the El Clasico. Both teams started the 2010-11 season strong. Mourinho, however, threw the first verbal shot at Guardiola, saying, but while everyone was expecting a live and entertaining El Clasico, Guardiola and Barcelona pretty much reminded the world why they were still the team to beat, and put a historical 5 goals past Real Madrid without reply. In his first El Clasico in Spain, Mourinho and Real Madrid were silenced. Guardiola was not a one-season wonder. He was the real deal, and Mourinho even had to admit it. Mourinho quickly learned that while he had won the battle, the war was still on, and he had only just begun. With the win, Guardiola not only humiliated Mourinho and Madrid, FC Barcelona went first in the league, a position they would hold on to for the rest of the season, winning La Liga, showcasing just how important El Clasicos were and how much impact they had on winning trophies, which is why when the legendary 4 El Clasicos in 18 days happened, the whole football world stopped. For those that don't remember, during the 2010-11 season, Madrid and Barca met a historic 4 times in the space of 18 days. Twice in the Champions League, once in La Liga, and another time in the final of the Copa del Rey. While everyone expected the matches to be exciting, no one could have predicted the absolute mayhem that would push everyone to the brink. The first one was in La Liga on the 16th of April 2011. This one can be described as 2 teams trying to figure each other out and playing it safe. The match ended in a 1-1 draw with both teams showing aggression, but ultimately nothing of note. Ronaldo and Messi both scored penalties, both teams got a point, and FC Barcelona pretty much wrapped up La Liga. The second El Clasico was the Copa del Rey final itself, where the stakes were really high. Both teams again remained cautious, but Mourinho was a master of patient play, set his team up to stop FC Barcelona. And while there was a controversial disallowed goal, Cristiano Ronaldo rose above everyone, both metaphorically and literally, to score the winning goal in extra time. Madrid were victorious, Mourinho was victorious. While it did not erase the shame of the 5-0 loss, it ensured FC Barcelona would not win the treble. Guardiola was devastated. The mental pressure of managing a club like FC Barcelona, with expectations of winning everything, was already too much. Add Mr. Mourinho into the mix, and you get a man who, according to some reports, was mentally on edge and was thinking of quitting. The win for Mourinho proved that the Portuguese was more than a match for the Catalan manager, and that it would not be as easy as the game from earlier in the season suggested. Now, with La Liga pretty much in FC Barcelona's hands and the Copa del Rey in Madrid, the only thing that was left was the Champions League itself. The pressure was truly monumental. Mourinho, ever the personality, came out and said, these were fighting words that pushed Guardiola, who was often calm in front of the press, to say Mourinho had managed to push Guardiola to the brink in this now infamous press conference. But while Mourinho had won the war of words, the actual game is what everyone was concerned about. Just like the previous season, Guardiola and Mourinho were back to facing off in the Champions League semi-final, with everyone pretty much certain that whoever won this tie would go on to lift the Champions League trophy at Wembley. FC Barcelona and Real Madrid squared off in what is now a legendary match that brought the best and worst out of both teams. The first half, FC Barcelona as usual had the ball, but things were still cagey. Tensions flared up at halftime when a fight broke out and Barcelona substitute goalkeeper Jose Manuel Pinto got red carded for an altercation in the tunnel. In the 61st minute, Madrid defender Pepe also got himself red carded from the affair. This might have changed everything because Lionel Messi ended up scoring 2 goals, one of which is still a classic, to take a 2-goal advantage back to the Camp Nou for the second leg. Finally, on the 3rd of May, FC Barcelona went into the Camp Nou and saw out a 1-1 draw to progress into the final of the Champions League. By this match, both teams had had enough of playing with each other, and you could see it in their faces. These 4 El Clásicos had been a mental test for both managers, and while you could say FC Barcelona came out on top with the Champions League and La Liga, Mourinho and Madrid had certainly frustrated one of the best sides in the history of football. In the start of the 2011-12 season, you could sense that FC Barcelona were not the same. Guardiola was not the same. After 3 years of high and intense expectations, the walls had closed in. The feud was still there, but the desire from Guardiola wasn't. He only won the Copa del Rey, while Mourinho continued his record of winning a league in every country he has ever managed in. Guardiola announced he was leaving FC Barcelona to take some time off because the pressure was too much. Mourinho congratulated Guardiola for all his accomplishments and I'm just kidding. This is what Mourinho had to say when Guardiola announced he was leaving. Just showcasing the pettiness and intensity of the rivalry. While the beef is technically ongoing with both managers throwing shade at each other every now and then, it is not as intense as it was in Spain. Plus, Mourinho kind of fell off. Guardiola has won the Premier League twice with City, and Mourinho's last noteworthy trophy was the Europa League with Manchester United. Hardly a competition to brag about. But with Mourinho in Tottenham and Guardiola at Man City, with football, we never know.